Welcome, everyone, back to yet another episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I am your host, Devin, as always, joined by my co-host, Jaden. Hoping everyone out there had a lovely weekend and is ready for the start of this new week. Me and Jaden just shortly got back from another card show. You know we love going to those, or I should say, I personally love going to those. I'm much more into it than Jaden. We also got March Madness going on. We're recording this at the halftime of the Michigan-Arizona game where Michigan, I would say, was handling them pretty comfortably. They were up 16 at half once we started this. So I'm sure we're going to get a Michigan-UConn national championship. And although I'm not a college basketball guy anymore, off the top of my head, I think I'll probably go Michigan. I just off the top of my head, that's kind of just what I'm feeling. Not really any motives or anything like that. How we doing today, though, Jaden? Everything going good with you?
Yeah, going pretty good.
Yeah. All right, so we got our final ranking of the offseason. I can't think of anything else that we would do. We got our top 10s all out the way, and to finish it out, we are doing our top 25 under 25. So stick around for that. That's going to be a lot of fun to get into. We got some other, little small NFL news to talk about regarding my favorite team. And then also kind of just some general NFL topics that I wanted to bring to the show. But you guys know how we start these out with pre-game talk. What do we got today?
All right, so with the NFL draft less than 2 weeks away, I wanted to blind rank first overall picks with you.
Okay.
I got 6 names, and we all know how blind ranking goes, and let's see how well you do on this.
Okay. Do I get a time frame with this? Is this just ever?
I'd say this is since 2000.
Since 2000?
Okay. Yeah, I didn't go that far back.
All right, that makes sense. Give me a general idea of what I'm working with here. All right, what's the first one?
First name we got is Cam Newton.
Okay, Cam Newton. A first overall pick since 2000. He's a pretty damn good one. Had a really, really good peak. I think Cam gets undervalued and underappreciated by certain fans. I think he definitely can be overrated at some times, but Cam's a damn good player. Had a damn good prime. Had some other good years in there. And this is, how many am I ranking?
6.
6. Okay. I'm gonna slide Cam. I want to play it like safe and go 3 because I'm trying to think of what other first overall picks I would really take over him. Since 2000. I'm gonna play it safe. I'll put Cam at 3.
All right. Next name I got is Andrew Luck.
Yeah, Luck's really good, man. Luck's really good. Never had the MVP that Cam got. That's a good one, man. Who would I rather take? Cam Newton, or I almost said Cam Luck. Cam Newton or Andrew Luck? Man, Luck was such a baller, dude, but so was Cam. I'm going to go Luck at 2. I don't know how much of a controversy that's going to be, but yeah, I'll go Luck at 2.
I feel like the consensus, most people would do Andrew Luck over Cam Newton, but
yeah, I think it's more so like Cam had the higher peak with the MVP, and I think I would. It is tough. I don't know who. I would probably say Cam.
Player.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd probably say Cam was a much more fan favorite, but I'm like Andrew Luck has a lot of supporters as well. But yeah, I'll go Luck at 2.
All right, next we have Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Caleb's early in his years. I think definitely not on the level of the other 2. This is a strong 5 or 6 for me, just because I'm going to play it safe and assume that we got a bad player coming. I'm going to go Caleb at 5. So that leaves me 1, 4, and 6.
All right. Next, we have Jadeveon Clowney.
Jadeveon, huh? I just want to get a refresher on Jadeveon because I know Jadeveon Clowney did have somewhat of a resurgence in his career after a really, really rocky start. I want to see.
He made some Pro Bowls and
yeah, that's what I'm saying
with Houston.
That's why I want to. Yeah, right. Because obviously he started his career with injuries, and then he really came into himself to end it with Houston. But then he also never really got back on track after that. I think I'm gonna have to put him below Caleb, but this one is tough. I mean, I feel like a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, this is obvious with Caleb being above him, but I'm a big fan of Caleb, but not in the way that other people are, in the fact that they think he's like this top 10 miraculous quarterback because he had all these big time moments. Caleb still has a lot to work on, but I do think he'll get there one day. I mean, multiple Pro Bowls, never had a double-digit sack season, but a good amount of 9 sack seasons in there. Do you put someone worse than Jadeveon or Caleb on this list? Maybe you do. I don't want to embarrass myself. I mean, even if I put someone at 4, I don't think it's that bad. So I'm going to put Jadeveon at 6 and play it risky.
So close. Because the next name we got is David Carr.
Yeah, he's got to go 4. Fuck, I should have went with my gut, bro. I just try to play it safe. I try to play the odds. Like, even if I get a bad player at 4, it won't look that bad. But it's so tough. All right. He's 4. Who's my number 1?
Your number 1 is...
I'm scared.
Can we get a drum roll, please? Kyler Murray. No, I'm joking. I just came up with that on the spot. I had written down Myles Garrett.
Okay, there we go. I was going to say, too, when I was like, Cam Newton, who are the number 1 overall picks that I would take over him? Myles Garrett was one of the guys that was in my mind. And I'm like, I mean, I guess I nailed that. I think my top 3 are good. I think if I could go back, obviously Carr is 6. And then with where Caleb is at right now, it really is a toss-up between him and Clowney, which it does sound a little bit crazy to say considering the consensus on Clowney is that he was a huge bust. But, yeah.
That's just compared to expectations, I feel like.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't like he was like a David Carr bust or,
yeah,
like a, Jamarcus Russell.
Right.
He just didn't live up to the hype.
Because I mean, he was projected to be a Myles Garrett-esque player. I mean, if Clowney's took at the mid to end of first round, he had a really solid ass career. 66.5 sacks, 3 Pro Bowls, and All Pro in there. Like it's a good career. It's a good career for a first round pick. But yeah, with the number 1 tag, it just adds that much more pressure. I always do that.
And be put on the same team as J.J. Watt, too, in his prime.
Right, with those expectations.
Yeah, it sucks.
Man, I always do that with these rankings, though. I always leave them. I mean, this time it worked out for me, but I always leave that number 1 spot for last. And I was so close to, just saying F it and putting, someone super high. But I'm like, I always play it too safe. I got to start going with my gut on these things. Before we jump into our top 25, under 25, we got some NFL news to go over. I guess this is somewhat relating to both of our teams. Kirk Cousins. Now, I'm going to read this headline, and it's going to sound crazy, but it's obviously not. Kirk Cousins will sign a 5-year, $172 million deal with the Raiders. In reality, though, it's only a 1-year, fully guaranteed $20 million deal. So what this is, the Falcons will pay Kirk Cousins $8.7 million this season, and the Raiders will pay him $1.3 million to total up to $10 million. the Raiders also gave Kirk Cousins a $10 million roster bonus that is guaranteed for him. And there's also, I believe there's a second year like attached into that, but how this has worked out from everything that I'm seeing, Kirk Cousins is like 95% getting cut this off, or not this offseason, but next offseason by the Raiders. He doesn't make it 2 years. I'd almost bet everything on it. But as far as, the football aspect of it, I actually like this pickup for the Raiders. This is something that was rumored throughout the offseason that the Raiders were going to bring in another quarterback alongside, soon to be number 1 overall pick Fernando Mendoza. There were talks that it could even be a Kyler Murray, which I didn't really like because I think Kyler Murray is a good starting quarterback in this league, and I think he deserves to be that. And if you're bringing in a number 1 overall pick, you don't want to bring in another starting quarterback. And there is talks that Cousins could legitimately be the starter for the Raiders. And, I mean, at the end of the day, I understand that the Raiders are in a competitive rebuild. I would love to see Mendoza get the start out the gate, but, you look at a guy like Brady, who is very involved with the Raiders' decisions, and Brady has always been a guy for sitting a quarterback to start out his career. I mean, at least a year. You look at a lot of quarterbacks in the league that have had that benefit, and they've done well in their career. So if this is the way that the Raiders want to go about it, I think Kirk Cousins is not a bad mentor to learn from in the NFL. I mean, especially when you talk about money-wise. He's a dude that I believe I saw it where every single year of his career, he has gotten guaranteed money on his contract. I mean, the dude's agent needs to be put in the Hall of Fame. But, I mean, Cousins is not a bad player to learn from, especially when you look at Mendoza's comps in the league. You look at a Jared Goff, a Kirk Cousins. It's very typical considering the skin color. But, yeah, I don't fully mind it. A lot of people were overreacting when you see the headline that he's signing a 5-year deal. That's not true at all. That's not what's happening. But, yeah, I like it personally. And we'll see if he does end up being the starter. I don't know if I really want that because, again, I would like to see my number 1 pick go out there, but it all depends on how quick Mendoza is picking up everything and how, ready he looks to start the season. So Kirk Cousins, formerly an Atlanta Falcon of Jaden's team and now a Las Vegas Raider, a part of my favorite team. That's really all the big. I guess there's also this, which isn't super big, but it's worth bringing up. I don't know if you happen to see this. The Jaguars will play the 2027 season in Orlando under a 1-year agreement with Florida Citrus Sports, hosting home games at Camping World Stadium. Their home stadium in Jacksonville will be unavailable due to ongoing renovations, but is expected to be ready for 2028. So, for the 2020 season, it is no longer the Jacksonville Jaguars. We will be calling them the Orlando Jaguars. I guess that's some decent news. Nothing too crazy, but something that went on during the off season. Another topic that I wanted to talk about, which went very, very viral. This is going to probably be a trend on this podcast, is bringing things from the all good world of Twitter. This post has almost 4 million impressions, and I have seen this going around. There's been people mocking it, and I'm going to be honest, potentially this post, which is similar to everything on Twitter, it's why it's such an unserious place. Most things you see on there is just engagement bait and trying to get the most views and impressions you can to get money. This guy posted 2 days ago, would Larry Fitzgerald be the greatest wide receiver in your franchise history? And it was ranked on a tier list of obviously, probably, argue either way, probably not, and no. And I wanted to bring this up on the podcast so we can have some conversations about it. And the comments are definitely interesting. So you said you did not see this, correct?
I didn't, no.
So there is one team in the no category, which means Larry Fitzgerald would not be the greatest wide receiver in their franchise. Do you think you could say that team?
Jerry Rice.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's the 49ers. There are 2 teams in probably not, 2 teams in argue either way, and 3 teams in probably. So the 2 teams in probably not are Minnesota and New England, which I am going to assume this guy is taking into account Randy Moss for both of those teams because the Patriots have nothing else outside of that. And then the 2 teams that are in argue either way are the Detroit Lions and the Atlanta Falcons. And we're getting to a point, and this is going to come off as anti-Larry Fitzgerald. And I want to start this out by saying I respect Larry Fitzgerald as a player. I think he's an all-time amazing player. But we have to draw the line at some point. Larry Fitzgerald is not on the level of either of the 3 teams' top receiver that I just mentioned with a Randy Moss and Jerry Rice. And he's certainly not on the level of a Calvin Johnson and a Julio Jones. The 3 teams in probably are the Eagles, Steelers, and Cowboys. And I want to start it out by saying he's certainly not on the level of an Antonio Brown. The other 2, I mean, what are we talking about? Michael Irvin and Terrell Owens?
I don't think he's on Terrell Owens' level.
Yeah, I was going to say I could probably agree with those 2 being the best in their franchise.
Does everything better.
Yeah.
Him, other than maybe hands, but it's more physical receiver.
And again, the Michael Irvin
receiver,
one.
But and then Mike.
Yeah.
Is that Michael Irvin?
I would assume I'm going to send you this. Oh, I kind of don't because I want to bring up. I'll send you this after we talk about it so you can see it because I want to talk about the teams and obviously. I'll send this to you because then we can both look at the teams and come to an agreement if he would be the best. That's what we'll do with the teams and probably. So we agree that all of the teams, I just sent it to you on Twitter, by the way, all the teams in probably and below we would take over Larry Fitzgerald. I think we have agreed on that. So now we move.
I don't know if I would agree with Michael Irvin, but.
Yeah, that's the only one that I was saying I think is dicey. I think that one you really could throw in the air and be either way on. I would be open to,
I think I do
either one of those guys
on that, honestly.
Okay. So then we'll move Cowboys up to obviously. So now we look at the other teams. Bills, Fitz is Fitz is over Andre Reed. I would say.
Yeah.
I just want to pull up Football Reference real quick just in case I have any stats that I'd like to look up on any other players. Let me go back here. Ravens, yup. Bears, yup. Panthers, yes. Jets, yes. Packers, absolutely not. Am I on my own there? Would you?
Packers? For what, Devontae Adams?
I don't think he's. I don't. See, that's the thing. When it comes to rankings, right? It's so tough. I value peak so much when it comes to rankings all time. Like so much. It's I value it way more than longevity. And I know a lot of people value longevity over that, right? A receiver puts up 1,000 yards in 10 straight seasons versus a receiver that has a 4-year stretch of 14 to 1,500 yards. I'm personally always going to favor that. That's just my thing that I've always went with. And I think Devontae Adams, I mean, the peak that he had from, 2020 to, 2022? I know it's a 3-year window. I just think he was the best receiver in the league those 3 years. And I can't confidently say Larry Fitzgerald has really ever held the crown for best receiver in the league, let alone 3 consecutive years. That one's up in the air. We'll leave that one up in the air. The Bengals, Again, I think Jamar will be when it's all said and done. Definitely not there yet. The Colts.
Get the hell out of
here.
Johnson.
I think Larry's better than Chad. I think I could comfortably say that.
I mean,
think
you're
Chad.
talking about the peak thing. I mean, I think there was a year where Chad was arguably one of. I don't know. That one's close to me.
Yeah,
I think they're all in the same. It's close. I don't know.
Yeah. So that one I could go either way. The
Colts,
Colts
though,
hell no. Hell no. He's not on the level of Marvin Harrison. Please stop. Broncos, Demaryius Thomas had some good years. If he had a RIPDT, if he had a longer prime, I'd give it an argument. The Raiders, I think Tim Brown and Larry Fitzgerald are in a very similar boat with longevity, but that one I'll give you a toss-up. Chargers, Fitz is better. Jags, Fitz. Texans, would you go Andre or Larry? Or, I mean, is it crazy to bring in a D-Hop in this conversation?
I'd probably go Larry over both of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think yeah, I'd just go Larry, honestly.
Okay.
For me.
I'm not disagreeing in that. I know Andre did lead the league in yards back-to-back seasons. I know that's something that he has over a guy like Larry. But I think that one I may favor Andre, but it's close. It's close. I might just go Larry just for that longevity aspect because Andre didn't have the craziest of peaks. I might be able to favor him, but I think that one's another close one. Dolphins, I don't think so.
Mark Clayton.
Yeah, I mean, Tyreek's 2 years were legendary. If he would have kept that up for a couple more, honestly, I'd probably give it to Reek. Seahawks, yeah, no. Rams.
Respect Larry or Steve Largent.
Man, are we putting Larry over a Holt and a Bruce?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
For me.
I don't think it's crazy to say. I know Torrey Holt had a longer but I think he had a better peak than Isaac Bruce. Isaac Bruce, I think, led the league in yards like his second or third year, but he never had the peak plus longevity of a Torrey, but I think it's close with him and Torrey. That's another one where I might lean the Rams, similar to the Texans. The Giants, no. The Saints, no. Titans, no. Bucks. I mean, which longevity do you prefer, Mike Evans or Larry Fitz?
I'll go. Get me started on that.
I'll go Larry. Washington, yeah, it's
1,001 yards for Mr. Mike Evans, please. 1,006.
The Chiefs one, if we're just looking at the player, it's obviously only career, or it's only with that team, but damn, Reek would be close, and I might even prefer it. And then the Browns I'll give that to him. So in reality, I think there should be 3 tiers here of no, hell no, a no to hell no. Then there's a middle tier where it's either way, and then there's a no. Because I think in the no tier, absolutely not, I think it's Niners, Vikings, Patriots, Falcons, Lions, Steelers, Eagles. So what is
Colts.
that? 6 Colts. That's 8 right there. Would you feel comfortable doing a Packers?
And hell no.
Yeah, I would just say no. We'll just do no either way. Yes.
No.
We'll just leave it at that. Okay.
I'd put the Packers in either way.
So the either way,
Hudson, he's
the either way tier
Don Hudson
would be Packers, Rams for me, and you can agree if you disagree, whatever. I would go Packers, Rams, Texans, Raiders. Cowboys.
I disagree with 3 of those.
And then if you like Chad, you can throw a Chad in there. And then that's probably where I'm at.
I disagree with 3 of those.
What would your probably, or either way, I should say, either way list look like?
Either way, Packers. Packers. What was it? Packers. I'll give you the Rams. Honestly, that's what I think. I think those are the 2 that are toss up. For me, I don't think the Texans. I don't think the Bengals. And I don't think the Raiders. I think I have Fitz over all of those comfortably.
Did you put Cowboys in there? Or
I
did you
didn't
not
put
mention
Cowboys. No, I
Okay,
also
so
think
you would put
Larry
Fitz
comfortably over Irvin also for me.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. It's not. I think. Yeah, I think the Andre with the lead in the league in back-to-back years, even a guy like, D-Hop had a good prime. It's really, I think it's there. And then with Tim Brown, a very similar thing where he was a longevity guy. And I would probably say Irvin also had a pretty damn good peak. Yeah, it's close. If it was just like the best receiver, like you're just taking that receiver at their best, man, there's a lot of players on here I'd take over. And I don't want it to seem like an anti-Larry Fitz, but because I'm a fan of him. But damn, I hate when certain players get way too overrated off certain things, and people I can never get behind longevity over peak, or like it's valued the same in my opinion. I think in like an overall team structure building way, yeah. But when it comes to strictly ranking a player, like, dude, when a receiver goes off, you know what I mean? Like a JSN this year. When a JSN does that, I'm going to put him over a lot of other players, no matter if they just had, 1,200 yards for 5 straight years. JSN goes out there for 1,800 yards. Yeah, he's comfortably over those guys. Like, I don't know. That's kind of how my brain has always looked with rankings at different positions. But yeah, I don't know. You guys can let us know what you agree and disagree with on that part. Is Larry Fitzgerald better than those? Am I underrating him? I don't know. Maybe a little bit. But with all that out the way, we will go ahead and get into this ranking. And we've talked about this ranking a lot throughout this week, and specifically today. I think this is a ranking that we've both attacked differently. I think Jaden on his end has maybe went a little more, what have you done for me now type of thing. And I'm on the more side of, what can you do for me in the future? I've kind of said, I think I'm doing this ranking off of like a 60-40, 60, what have you shown and done in your career, and a 40% off of potential. I also didn't want to take too much into positional value at a certain point, because I didn't want to just slide up quarterbacks way high on the list when it's like this player is clearly a better player than them. But at the same time, quarterback is the most important position. And if you do show flashes or potential or, things like that, I have to put respect on that, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of quarterbacks in this league that have the potential to be really damn good. And if they're able to hit that, yeah, they're going to be high on a lot of people's lists. So I'm excited to get into this. I'm also a little bit nervous because this is a different ranking than anything we've done, and especially for the NFL, it's so much more different than the NBA, where they do this a lot. I feel like it's very easy, not easy, but it's a lot easier than the NFL, because there's so many different positions, and you have to take into account so many different things when looking at this ranking. So let's just get into it. Do you want to start out? Yeah, we'll start out with our honorable mentions to start this out. How many did you say you had? I think 8, or has that number slimmed down? 7. Okay. I personally only brought 4 honorable mentions, so I'll knock mine out quick and see what your 7 are. My 4 honorable mentions: stud rookie Nick Eamon-Warry, unfortunately did not make my list. Cooper DeJean and Brian Branch were 2 other players that did not make my list. And finally, sorry for this, Jaden, but Drake London also did not make my list. Top 25 under 25. Unfortunately, they didn't make the cut for me.
All of those guys are in my top 20, by the way.
Yeah. I knew it. I said to Jaden before the podcast, I said, considering on how our lists are, I said my honorable mentions are all going to be on your list, and I nailed it. But we'll see. I also kind of like this because this ranking is so much more different than our top 10s, where I feel like our top 10s really matter on what we value, and this is kind of just like a vibes type of thing. What are we taking into account? Certain things. So
yeah, because like with all these different positions, you can't just go off statistics. Like
yeah, right.
Because it's all these different positions. Like you know what I mean. Like it's hard to do a ranking with just statistics. Obviously, that plays a factor. You can't do nothing expect to make this list, but the top 10 is more so based on a statistical standpoint.
Yeah.
Then this one is not so much.
Right.
Or less as much, but yeah. Okay. My honorable mentions: Byron Murphy, Tyler Warren, Kamari Lassiter, Paris Johnson, Jackson Dart, Emeka Egbuka, and James Pierce.
It's a fair one. I probably should have threw Emeka in my honorable mentions. He didn't make my list as well. Kind of a little bit of a spoiler. But yeah. So how we're going to do this list, because this is a very heavy list of a lot of players, we're going to go in groups of 5. So I'll start out with my first 5 on the list, or Jaden, and then we'll just go back and forth. 25 through 21, he'll do his, and then so on and so forth, 20 through 16, all the way up until we reach eventually 1. So do you want to start with this list, or you want me to just go ahead and start it out?
I'll start it out.
All right.
My last 5 on this list are all rookies.
I was gonna spoil it, but I'll let you go ahead. Who are your first 5?
My 25 spot, Ashton Jeanty, was originally honorable mention, but due to some technical errors before the pod, he got moved into the top 25. Because I may or may not have had a couple players that were 25 or 26 on my list.
Yeah.
So Ashton Jeanty at 25. At 24, I have Cam Ward. At 23, I have Carson Schlesinger. At 22, I have Abdul Carter. And at 21, I have Colston Loveland. All players who had great rookie seasons. One that you might be eyeballing a little bit is Abdul Carter over Schlesinger, considering Schlesinger won the Defensive Rookie of the Year over him, but I think that was just kind of solely based on the numbers. Also, I mean, Schlesinger was an amazing player. I don't want to take that away from him. I'm more so this pick, 1 spot over, is kind of more so on the projection side for my list. I think Abdul Carter is going to be an amazing player. I think he had a really good rookie season, and I think he's going to be even better. So, yeah.
That's a fair one, especially considering Abdul Carter had a pretty strong second half of the season. Yeah. So
yeah, he was what is he like top? Was he like top 6 in like pressures or something like that too? I want to say.
Yeah, he
had a lot of pressures,
a lot,
not a lot of sacks, but couldn't finish the play. But the pressures are there. That's a good sign.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, our lists are going to look a lot different considering what we took into it. Considering what we took into account, I based mine way more off of potential. But my first 5 are also 5 rookies. To start it out, I have back-to-back tackles in Armand Membu and Kelvin Banks. 2 guys that I think can be cornerstone players for franchises, and 2 players that I think showed that as rookies. I mean, these are guys that if the NFL was a real league, they would have considered them for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But unfortunately, it's not. I mean,
Armand Membu a lot of sacks. That's why I didn't put him on my list.
Yeah, it's
and they were in bad. It's bad situations. I get it, but it's like it's happened before, and players didn't give up that many sacks. And I know,
Yeah.
like, Membu had a really strong start to the season as well, and
Yeah.
Kelvin Banks was pretty consistent all throughout the season. But
Yeah.
when I started
think
digging into them, like, they gave up too many sacks for my liking.
Yeah. I think the thing that really did this for me, I think they did flip. I think Membu had a stronger start. I think Kelvin Banks had a stronger end to the season. But I really look at these players.
Part.
Yeah,
I think
right.
They could be really good too. I agree.
Right, and also Banks was a guy that was really high on pressure rate allowed. Even though he did give up a couple sacks, he was a guy, or not high, I should say. Or is it high or low? He was high on the list with a low number, I should say. And then continuing the trend with rookies, as I said, I have 3 more. I have 2 quarterbacks, Jackson Dart at 23. A guy that was close to an honorable mention for me to start it out, but he did sneak on my list. The offensive rookie of the year, Teteroa McMillan, is at 22. And another quarterback, Tyler Shuck, is at 21 for me. A guy that, similar to Kelvin Banks, had a really strong second half of the season. And I just enjoyed what I saw a lot more from Shuck over a guy like Dart. I think people are going to see that and immediately go, oh, what the hell? Like, Dart was this guy that was super electric, took the league by storm when he came in as a starter. But from a quarterback standpoint, I really do not enjoy when guys really make their living off of getting outside the pocket, playing outside of structure, and, struggling really to, take their 2-step drop and make a read. And Dart was a guy who did not, specialize in that. On the other hand, Shuck played really well for a rookie, especially when he got his time to shine. I think he had like a 3 to 4 game stretch there in the later half of the season where he looked really, really good. And even though the competition wasn't at this top tier level, he still looked really damn good. And maybe some will say that's to age, but hell, it's hard to play the quarterback position, and he played it pretty damn well. So those are my first 5.
All right, my next 5, 20 through 16. At 20, I have Cooper DeJean. At 19, I have Teteroa McMillan. At 18, I have Nick Eamon-Wari. At 17, I have Drake London. And at 16, I have Brian Branch. I'll start backwards. Cooper DeJean, he was on my top 10 corners list. I think he's a phenomenal player, one of the best slot corners in the league, and not, strict to playing in the slot. He can play on the outside as well. 19, Teteroa McMillan, had a phenomenal rookie season, won Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's a legit wide receiver 1 in this league. I think he's, set to be one of the better receivers in the league. Nick Eamon-Wari, I said it before on this podcast. He is an amazing player. He's probably one of the most athletic players in the league. He's kind of like a baby Kyle Hamilton, as I've said before. He was a big part of that Seattle defense that ended up winning the Super Bowl. And yeah, I think he's going to be even better in the coming years. 17, Drake London. We all know Drake London might be a little biased. Had a down year compared to his year before, but he was banged up a lot. Had kind of poor quarterback play. I think next season, a healthy Drake London should have a similar year to what he did in 2024. And 16, Brian Branch. I think Brian Branch is off the top of my mind. I think easily like a top 3 safety in the league. I think he's a phenomenal player in the run. In the pass, he's so electric. He's making splash plays on the defense all over. I think he's a phenomenal player. Brian Branch at 16.
Yeah, that's fair. Those were a lot of guys that you mentioned made my honorable mentions that made your list. So I'll go ahead and jump into my next 5, starting out with another offensive lineman in Darnell Wright. This is a guy that really broke out this year for the Chicago Bears, and I really, really enjoyed what I saw from him. The Defensive Rookie of the Year, Carson Schlesinger, is at my 19. An edge rusher that has gotten better every single year of his career, Tuli Tuipulotu, a guy that I am a big fan of. And I'm curious, did he make your list?
He did not, honestly.
Because that was a guy that
He probably would have been in my honorable mentions.
Yeah,
Tuipulotu,
yeah.
he did not make my top 10.
No, I did.
Tuipulotu did.
Oh, that's right. That's who I was thinking of. When I was making this list, I'm like, I thought that was, that makes sense. Okay. Maybe he made your honorable mentions on that list. Maybe that's why I said it.
I think so.
Possibly.
Okay. I don't remember.
But yeah, he falls at number 18 for me. As I mentioned, a guy who's gotten better every single year of his career and was a really underrated run defender this year. I have another quarterback, another rookie at 17. That is Cam Ward. I have him the highest out of the 3 rookie quarterbacks on this list. I think he is a superstar in the making. And with a little more structure over there in Tennessee, I think that dude's going to be a baller. At number 16, I have Raiders' own Brock Bowers, a guy that I think when healthy and when he's able to get targets, he's a top 10 offensive weapon in the league. But this is one of those things where I had to take into account positional value and being a tight end. Just had to have him a little bit lower if it was up to me, or I guess it was up to me, so I could have did what I wanted. But I wanted to get him in the top 10, obviously, but just something that I could not make happen. So Brock Bowers just outside the top 15 at number 16.
My 15 through 11. At 15, I have Devon Achane. At 14, I have Caleb Williams. At 13, I have, this was a tough one to rank, and I'm sure you're probably going to have him higher. Maybe not, I don't know. But 13, I have Malik Neighbors. At 12, I have Joe Alt. And at 11, I have Brock Bowers. 15, Devon Achane. I mean, he's one of the best running backs in the league. I don't know what much more to say on that. Devon Achane, phenomenal player. Very young still, has a lot more to come still in his prime. 14, Caleb Williams, one of the most electric quarterbacks in the league. Not the most consistent of the top quarterbacks. I think that's what kind of holds him from being a top quarterback is the consistency, which I think will come as, you get older and you get more experience under your belt. But he has that superstar factor, and I think he's going to be, a top 10 quarterback in the league eventually or easily if he's not in your top 10 list, which I don't think he's in any of ours, but maybe some of our viewers have him in theirs. But 13, Malik Neighbors. Obviously, he could be a lot higher than this. I'm factoring in, that injury, which I'm not a big fan of. I think he could come back and still be a phenomenal player. Do I think he could come back and be as good as he was maybe potentially going to be before the injury? I don't know. It's a scary injury, torn ACL, torn meniscus. It's a really rough injury. But I still think he could come back and be a great player. So I have Malik Neighbors at 13. At 12, Joe Alt, another player that had some injuries last year. But when he's playing and when he's healthy, he's one of the best tackles in the league. Joe Alt, delete. Amazing player. And at 11, I put him higher. Didn't really consider the positional value, unlike you, but I have Brock Bowers. I think he can be the engine of an offense. I think he's a amazing player. I think he can be like a Travis Kelce, like a George Kittle type player with that type of usage. And I think he could really transform an offense, transcend an offense. And yeah, I think when healthy, we saw that first game of the season last year against the Patriots. He went absolutely berserk. And unfortunately, the same game where he got injured and kind of derailed his whole season. But yeah, Brock Bowers. I mean, we know how special of a talent he is.
It's funny, too, because we're almost, 40 episodes deep in this podcast. I don't think I've ever mentioned that I played against Brock Bowers in high school. It's the only NFL player, only real player that, went to college and had a successful career in football that I think either of us have ever played against. And I remember going into that game, when we were doing film, I remember the whole breakdown was just we have to try to focus on stopping him, right? We had, this wasn't a super advanced high school. It was a regular public high school, so we didn't have a bunch of different crazy coverages. We roughly had around 5 coverages that we ran. But our whole thing was we had, shout out my boy Germ, he was kind of like a hybrid linebacker nickel type of player on our team. So our whole thing was we were going to run our same coverages, but no matter what, Germ is going to follow Brock Bowers on every single route. And it did not go well. The first play of the game, first of all, I want to mention, I guess I didn't play against him because I was injured this game, but I was still there with all the meetings, still everything like that. The first play of the game, he's lined up at tight end. We have our edge rusher. We called him Too Tall because he was like a 6'4", 6'5", super skinny edge rusher. Brock Bowers knocks him on his ass, catches a screen pass, and takes it about 75 yards to the house. And he's running down our sideline. And I swear to God, when he was doing that, in my mind, I'm like, bro, that guy is an NFL player that I'm watching. Like he was a grade below me, by the way. This was my senior year of high school. He was a junior. And he was just like he was built, bro. Like it was unreal watching him run down our sideline. 6'2", like 230, just faster than everybody. Not even close. No one even laid a finger on him. He only played the first quarter, and I think he scored 2 or 3 touchdowns, and then he didn't play the rest of the game. And that was pretty consistent for him throughout the whole season. I remember looking up his stats, and he pretty much only played first quarters of games and then sat out for everything else. So I can't believe we're this deep into the podcast, and that's the first time I've ever mentioned that. But, yeah, only NFL player that I've ever played against. My number 15 through 11.
Forgot to mention me.
What is that? Oh, man, don't even.
Played against me.
I thought you were going to say, like, forgot to mention you in the story. Man, please stop it. My number 15 through 11, I have a couple of players that Jaden mentioned in his 15 through 11. At 15, I have Joe Alt, another cornerstone tackle in this league. Obviously, has dealt with an injury this past year, which was unfortunate for the Chargers season because that led to Justin Herbert getting destroyed a lot. But I'm eager to see him come back and play. At number 14, we nearly had the same player at the same spot. I have Devon Achane at 14. I believe you had him at 13. It's going to be tough, or 15. It's going to be tough to see if we match on any of these. I think there's a good chance we maybe match 1 or 2, maybe 3 in the top 10, but we'll have to see. Number 14, I have Devon Achane, one of the best dual backs in the league as far as catching it through the air and rushing it on the ground, a guy that is always near the top of the league in yards per attempt, or yards per carry, I should say. So Achane falls at number 14 for me. At number 13 and at number 12, this is where I brought in a lot of potential because I look at these two guys as superstars and players that I think can legitimately take over the NFL. You think you can guess the 2 players that I'm talking about here? 2 rookies that I think are 2 superstars.
You have Ashton Jeanty in here.
I have Travis Hunter at number 13 and Ashton Jeanty at number 12. As I mentioned, mine and Jaden's lists are going to look different. The
Ashton Jeanty one's not crazy, but the Travis Hunter one is crazy. I'm sorry, dude.
Really?
How do you put I mean, it was his rookie season, and like he barely played.
I think he was.
That's like 100% potential.
Yeah,
I know, but like there has to be like some bit of like.
I think when he was showcased his actual cornerback skills, because he didn't play much on that side of the ball, at least not as much as he should have, but he had multiple games where he played, really well. You look at the Chiefs game, I thought he played really well. The Bucs game, I thought he played really well. He came up with a bad penalty at the end, which I don't believe was a penalty. And on the other side of the ball, I think a lot of times when he got the football, he was electric with it. I think it's unfortunate that the Jaguars somehow messed up his rookie season on playing him. I don't really know how they go about that. The Jaguars offense really overall just couldn't get anything going with their young stars, and maybe that's more to say about them because when they were out, the Parker Washington and things like that, the Jaguars were able to get going. But I think Travis Hunter legitimately is a superstar currently. I just don't think he was able to really show it his rookie year, and I think it's only going to go up. I think this is a guy that is an 8 out of 10 player at 2 different positions, and it's not crazy to say that. I think he's a better corner than receiver, And that's saying something because you see the film as a rookie, and as I mentioned, when he gets the ball, it's electric. And obviously, he wasn't able to showcase that as much. So these specific. Can I talk? These specific two rankings are ones that I did super heavily rank on potential. But again, these are two guys that I legitimately think are superstars, and I think are going to, be faces of the league in the upcoming years. So two players that maybe I'm a little too, high on, but that's just me personally.
I mean, the Ashton Jeanty one is high too, but I could still see it, but Travis Hunter one is just, I can't. That's just way too high, dude.
Yeah,
there's these players that have that potential to be, still put up great seasons, and they've done it already. They're in their second year. They're going into their third year. Travis Hunter just played 7 games of his rookie year, and he was good. I wouldn't say he was phenomenal, amazing in those 7 games though. There's the potential. You see the potential, but that's just
I think
crazy.
I think at the end of, I think if I had to bet at the end of next season, I think everybody that I've named and honorable mention everything, I think Travis Hunter will be better than them. When you look at him as a football player and the fact that he can do things on both sides of the football. And it could come back to bite me. This guy could end up not being that. It could be too much on his plate, which a lot of people predicted coming into the NFL, but I think he's able to handle it. And I think he's going to be a superstar. No, come on. And at number 11, to round out my 5, I have Quinyon Mitchell, a guy that was really close to getting inside my top 10. I think he was consensus number 4 on our cornerback list, or maybe 3. And he's just outside my top 10. Yeah, Quinyon Mitchell.
No way he was that high.
You don't think so? Or was he 5?
5. I had him at 5.
Okay,
you
so
might
maybe
have had him higher, but I had him
maybe
at 5.
he was a consensus 5. I think I had him higher because I didn't have Sauce and you did. I think Sauce was your 4.
I did have Sauce
and
higher.
Then Quinyon was 5, and then Quinyon was my 4. But regardless, a guy that was, top 5 for both of us. And he ends up at number 11 on my list. Quinyon, amazing player, and I think he's going to continue that going forward. So,
my 10 through 6. At my 10, I have Quinyon Mitchell. At my
no, I'm sorry. I was just going to say another close one. We almost nailed it. Devon Achane and Quinyon both off by 1. What happened?
My list's a little messed up here. Give me a second, Will, I think.
Do you want me to just jump into my 10 through 6 then?
Damn. What happened here? That's why I had 26 players. Because the Drake May thing didn't save. Because we had this talk before the pod on my list. And I moved Drake May up a little bit. Dang. And then there's at some point where I was like, why do I have 26 players on my list? And I had to redo my list again. And it's because Drake May was duplicated.
So everybody was moved down a spot.
It's
or
just
up a
weird.
Spot, basically.
It's weird. It's messed up, but whatever. We'll just go. Quinyon Mitchell is at 9 for me. At 8, I have Jahmyr Gibbs. At 7, I have Derek Stingley. And at 6, I have Christian Gonzalez. And to go back to my 9, Quinyon Mitchell. Obviously, Devin just talked about a phenomenal player, Going to keep getting better. He was a top 5 corner for both of us. And, yeah. Next, Jahmyr Gibbs. We all know how good Jahmyr Gibbs is. One of the best dual-threat running backs in the league. Always at the top in yards per carry. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes over there, what type of numbers he could put up next season, being now the lead back with David Montgomery gone. Jahmyr Gibbs, phenomenal player. At 7, I have Derek Stingley, another great player. I think we both had him consensus top 3 corner on our lists. One of the best corners in the league, one of the best zone coverage corners in the league, a phenomenal player, phenomenal ball hawk. Derek Stingley at my 7. At my 6, Christian Gonzalez, the second best corner in the league for me on my list, and I believe was that the same for you on your list? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we both had Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez, the opposite side of Stingley, one of the best man coverage corners in the league. Phenomenal player. Hopefully he can stay a little more healthy, but yeah, Christian Gonzalez for me at my number 6.
Yeah, my top 10, entering my top 10, I should say. We have a couple similar players that we get into. I have Caleb Williams to enter my top 10. This is a guy that I had to factor in a little more potential because he's a player that I'm a huge fan of, but I also can't ignore his inconsistency when it comes to inside the pocket, when it comes to the first 3 quarters of a game. I can't just look at the last play where he chucks up a Hail Mary and it gets completed. I can't do that with a player, but I have to accept that this guy is one of the more electric and exciting quarterbacks in the league, and I think he just has some small things that he needs to work on that I think can boost him to that next level. So Caleb Williams ends up in my top 10. My number 9 is Jahmyr Gibbs, a guy that Jaden already touched on a little bit. Won't spend too much time on him. At number 8, a guy that Jaden said I probably have a little bit higher, which I do. I have Malik Neighbors in my top 10. As I mentioned with a Genty and Travis Hunter, I think this guy's a superstar, and I think he's going to show that next year. At number 7, I think we kind of accidentally had our first same ranking, considering your ranking was a little bit off. I have Derek Stingley Jr. at my number 7.
No, that should have been right.
Okay. So that's our first official match on a ranking with Stingley at number 7. And at number 6, I have Bijan Robinson. Not unfortunately making my top 5. Obviously he did for Jaden's, but just squeaked out. Just squeaked out outside of my top 5. The guys above them, just me personally, I would personally take over him. So Bijan is at number 6 for me, but don't get it twisted. One of the best football players in the league. And we enter our top 5. You can go ahead. Should we go one at a time with this one? Since
Sure.
We've entered our top 5? Okay. Who do you have at 5?
My 5 is Puka Nacua.
My 5 is Christian Gonzalez.
Okay. My 4 is Drake May.
I definitely have Drake May a little bit higher. My 4, guy you just mentioned, Puka Nacua, who needs to, I don't know. This dude is just going crazy. Why is every single player that I become a fan of, they just have to do dumb shit? Puka is my 4, though, to keep it back on football. Who do you got at 3?
My 3 is Henry Ruggs. No. My 3
What
is
the fuck?
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Boom. We got our second match. JSN is my number 3 as well.
My 2 is, I don't care what his real pronunciation is, that is Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, and at my number 2, this is one where I could go a little, I think you're personally crazy, but I have Drake May at my 2.
The fuck is that crazy? It's 2 spots apart.
I think the positional value, I think a quarterback that almost won MVP, almost became the second youngest MVP winner, I feel like he's got to be over a running back. Me personally.
I just think these players are better at their respective position than Drake May.
Yeah, but I think
these 3 are arguably the best players at their position.
Not arguably.
Or top 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, the number 1 guy who we both have is definitely.
It's not fair. You got to fucking. It's like. You don't even count that. You don't look at that. It's like you take away number 1 and then look at everybody else.
Yeah. But I guess we'll just go ahead and get to it. Our consensus number 1, our third, match ranking, Will Anderson Jr.
Will Anderson.
A guy that's a monster. He was both a top 3 edge rusher for us. Those are our lists. Honestly, I don't think it was that crazy. I think we matched a good amount. Not matched, but I say we had a lot of similar players. Obviously, we both looked at it differently.
Different ways to read this.
Yeah.
Don't agree with somebody playing only 7 games being that high.
Yeah, it's fair. It's a
I
fair
mean, it's
critique.
fine to
I
have
think
him on
that's
your
my
list,
worst one.
but like at 12,
13. But I
same
get you.
fucking thing.
I get you. Again, I based it more. What's so funny about this is, dude, we could have 5 different people do a top 25 under 25, and I think they could legitimately all look super different. But I think that's a
Yeah,
good
this
thing.
was a
I think it's a
hard
good
list
thing.
to make.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. If we would have did like, see, that's just way too much. Like top 25 under 25, only offense and only defense, that would have been fun. But that's also a lot. So
Top
that would have
30
just been
under 30.
or top 30 over 30. That could be something. But yeah,
Top
that was
35 over 35.
a ton of fun. You guys let us know. Let us know. Am I crazy for my Hunter ranking?
Third? Yeah, there is, right? There has to be that many. 35 players in the league, 35 or older.
I would have to say so, but then we'd start probably getting into some kickers. We'd probably start getting into some long snappers. You know, we'd have a Calais Campbell on our list.
I said 35, not 50.
I think it's
doable.
doable.
He hasn't even
It'd be
retired
difficult.
yet, right?
I don't think so. I don't remember seeing nothing about it. But yeah, that is our top 25 under 25. You guys let us know what you think. Let us know if I'm crazy for my rankings. I don't know if Jaden had anything super off the rails. I personally just believe, I think the only thing that I would say, which again, it's not a big deal, I think the top 2 are a consensus. I think that's how it should be. But again, I had Hunter at 13, so who am I to say anything to anybody? That's going to do it for us in this episode. Next week, unfortunately, we will not be dropping an episode. We will both be out of town, so you guys look forward to the next episode, which will be our official mock draft a week before the actual NFL draft, where, you know, that episode will be talking about the NFL draft, probably grading every single pick, or not every single pick. I was going to say every single first round pick, but it'll be multiple days after. So we'll probably end up doing grading every team's draft. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, till next time, we are out.